Amos Miller runs Miller's Organic Farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. No cell phone, no electricity, no modern conveniences. His farm is a snapshot of another time. A time when milk was raw, butter was churned by hand, and cows were called by name, not tagged with numbers. For Amos, farming is a spiritual practice. It's how he feeds his family. And as it turns out, a devoted group of 4,000 private members scattered across the country. These members aren't just customers, they're food purists. They seek out Amos's raw milk, grass-fed meats, and unprocessed products because they want food untouched by modern industrial processes. For them, Miller's Organic Farm represents something rare, food as it once was. I never advertise, Amos says. People just find me. For years, it worked. His farm operated as a private membership association, selling directly to people who knew what they were getting and believed in it wholeheartedly. No middlemen, no grocery stores, just Amos and his members. But that autonomy came at a price. Long before 2016 listeriosis outbreak, Amos Miller's farm had already caught the USDA's attention. In 2013, the U.S. Department of Agriculture's National Organic Program launched an investigation questioning the farm's use of the term organic without official certification. While the word organic might seem harmless, it's a tightly regulated label. If you use it without certification, you're violating federal law. By 2015, things escalated. The USDA's Food and Safety Inspection Service demanded access to inspect Miller's meat production practices, specifically focusing on his slaughtering process, which they argued didn't meet federal standards. Miller resisted. He believed that because he sold only to private members, the rules shouldn't apply to him. And then things got more serious. The USDA subpoenaed his customers' purchase records. Miller refused. He believed his members had a right to privacy. It was a dangerous standoff. Federal inspectors were circling, and the farm was under constant scrutiny. They want to turn small farms into big business, Amos said back then. In 2016, things reached a boiling point. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention linked 2 cases of listeriosis, a potentially deadly bacterial infection, to raw milk from Miller's Organic Farm. One of the patients, a 73-year-old woman from Florida, died. The CDC's whole genome sequencing showed that the Listeria monocytogenes found in Amos raw chocolate milk was closely related genetically to the strain that made these 2 people sick. For the USDA, this was clear evidence. Listeria is no joke, especially for the elderly, pregnant women, and people with compromised immune systems. The agency stepped in quickly, issuing an injunction and ordering Amos to stop selling raw dairy products until he complied with federal food safety regulations. But Amos didn't see it that way. To him, the evidence was thin. Closely related genetically didn't mean exact match. And the woman who died? She was undergoing intensive chemotherapy for late-stage cancer. Could the listeria have come from another source? Possibly. But once the USDA connects the dots, it's hard to argue your way out of it. Over the next few years, the legal battle grew more intense. In 2019, Amos was found in contempt of court for continuing to sell raw milk products without following federal food safety rules. He was hit with a $250,000 fine, which only added fuel to his argument that small farmers like him being targeted unfairly. Amos's case became a rallying cry for the food freedom movement. Supporters flooded social media with stories about government overstepping its bounds. Fundraisers popped up to help him cover his legal costs. And at the heart of it all was one question. Is this about food safety, or is it about control? What's really at stake? Let's be clear. Public health matters. The USDA's job is to protect consumers from dangerous pathogens. No one wants another outbreak of foodborne illness, but the question isn't whether safety matters, which it does. The question is how far we go in regulating small, independent producers. Amos' supporters argue that consumers should have the right to make their own decisions. After all, We're allowed to buy cigarettes, alcohol, and sugary processed foods, all things that carry known risks. Why can't we buy raw milk from a farmer we trust? The food freedom movement believes this is bigger than Amos Miller. It's about the future of local food, small farming, and personal choice. If the small farmers are regulated out of existence, what does that mean for the future of food? For now, Amos' future is uncertain. The USDA is still watching, still enforcing. The legal battle continues. But this case is about more than just one farm in Lancaster County. It's a test case for the balance between public health and personal freedom, between safety and sovereignty. People should have the right to decide what they eat. Amos says, I just want to keep farming the way we've always done it. The courts may have the final say, but the debate isn't going away anytime soon. Not for Amos, not for his customers, and not for anyone who believes in the right to choose where their food comes from. Amos' story asks us to think about the kind of food system we want. It's not a question of black and white. It's a question of balance. At what point does regulation protect us? And at what point does it start chipping away at our freedom?